Alright, so I've got this really cool kit that I want to show you that goes along with this characterization of the dentures in a very quick fashion kind of thing. It's very durable and at the same time adds a ton of value. This is the denture we have been working on. Let me get this over here. This is that denture we've been working on, and so far we've gotten the gradi in and so forth. Now what we want to do is we want to characterize the teeth. But we're not going to characterize it with gradi gum. We're going to characterize them with Optiglaze Color. Optiglaze Color comes in these little bottles like this in a kit. Let me grab this kit real quick. This is kind of cool. This kit contains a whole bunch of different colors. The ones we're going to talk about, or the one I'm going to talk about in this video, and then I'll expand on it, is one of the components of the kit, and they're called Chroma Adjusters. And the one in particular that I like, because it's most of the teeth that I'm working with are in the A1, A2 range and A3 range, that I like to use this. It's called A+. Well, what A+ does is it can take an A1 tooth and turn it into an A2, A3, A3/5, A4 if you want. Or it can take an A2 tooth and turn it into an A3, A3/5, and so on. You can take an A3 tooth and turn it into an A3.5. So you got a lot of range. You can take an A0 tooth and turn it into an A1, A2, A3, A3/5. So in other words, you can adjust using the A+, meaning plus chroma. It's going to move it over by basically just painting on a coat, a thin coat of the A+ color. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to do that. Now, the teeth can be air abraded. That would be the best. Just a little bit of abrasion, just enough to knock the glare off, because you don't want a shiny surface to add this product to. The next step is, what I recommend is to take a little bit of the Optiglaze Clear, because if they are dull and frosty from air abrasion, you've got to bring them up to the gloss that they're at, so then you can judge the color correctly. So what I did is I put a little bit of this out here. Oop, I hit that, sorry. Let me get that back in range here. And I've already painted the I have already painted the clear on the laterals. I'll put some on the central, because I want the glare, or the glaze I should say, the surface is a better way to put it. I want the surface to be of the same glossy texture before I start adding stuff. I'll put a little drop on my pad. With the clear you don't have to shake it. When you use the others though, you'll need to shake the bottles as you prepare. Okay, so now I'll take, let me see if I can just scan this out just a little bit. There we go. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some on the central, some on the lateral. This is clear now, and this is on the cuspid. We'll just do those 6. Okay, once you get it on there, you should be close, or you should be on the range. Now this was an A3 tooth, or I should say this is an A2 tooth. And I can just put my shade tab up next to it. I don't know if you can see it, but with the gloss on there, it looks like it should. Okay, now I'm going to change the chroma to an A3. So I'll get out my old A3 shade tab just to show you if you can see the difference. Great. Okay, and I'm going to bring that up to A3. So first thing I'm going to do is I've got to, now that I've placed the clear on, is I want to take and I want to pre-cure it. Actually, I'm going to cure it. I'm going to take just a flash on my label light, I'm sorry, on my step light, and just freeze it. Now you could put this in your halogen light cure oven. That would be like your ProCure unit or your Triad unit, and just put it on for 10 seconds. Okay, so I'll just nail this real quick just to freeze it. Now I have found that if I do it and I leave if I leave it wet on the surface, it tends to streak. So by pre-curing it and then starting to add, I will avoid that. So I'm going to go and I'm going to put a little bit. Now first, what I should do is I should shake it. Guys got me all razzed today. Working against some deadlines, but I wanted to squeeze this in. Wanted to make sure that I was able to present this. Alright, so once we get it shaken real nice, then we put a little bit out on our pad. And like I say, this is the A+. I'll just put a little dab out there right now. And what I'm going to do is the centrals. Okay, actually, I'll tell you what. We'll leave the centrals alone and we'll do the cuspids. And I'll tell you why. Because cuspids are generally always a bit darker than the centrals and the laterals. And that's because of the density of dentin enamel. Okay, so I'll just do those cuspids. Now, you could stop right there and you could not add another color, and you've already characterized your arrangement by breaking it up and causing it to become polychromatic. Alright, I put it on both cuspids. Now I'll freeze it just real quick, just a little burst of light just to get it to set up. I don't want to over cure this material over a period of time. I think I might have mentioned this in another video, because if you start over curing it, like all products, they tend to start to burn. They don't burn in the literal sense of burn, but what they do is they discolor, and they start to show up that discoloration over a short period of time. Now, I don't know if you can see that, but just the cuspids are darker. Okay, just the cuspids. Now if I wanted to go darker again, I would just take and I would add a little bit more. This is for demonstration purposes basically. One coat would have broken up just enough, but what I want to do is just show you that if I wanted, I could really bring these up and I could really make them stand out. And remember, always cure the layer that you put on before you add another layer, because if you don't, what you're going to end up doing is you're going to end up streaking the material. You don't want it to streak. You just want to coat it, and if it's got a wet surface you're adding to, it will indeed it'll streak. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a photo of it and then I'll put it on the video so you can see it. But so I've got both of my cuspids darker. Okay, if I wanted to, I could go one step further and I could just put a small amount of change. I would say, let's see here, it's probably about an A3 on these cuspids. Yeah, you can see. Okay, that's about an A3. There's the tab for A3. Keep your tabs handy when you're doing this stuff. So I got A3 cuspids, A2 centrals and laterals at this point. See, here's the other one. Okay, it's just about on the money. Breaking it up, it's giving that polychromatic effect that I like to impart on the setups. Okay, so I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it in my halogen box, my Proform or my Triad oven for just a second. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So then the next step is I want to take and I want to lighten the laterals. The laterals are always brighter than the centrals and brighter than the cuspids. So what I'll do is I'll come over here, take a little bit of alcohol. Rubbing alcohol isopropyl alcohol is best for this stuff. And I will take a little of that and I will clean my brush if I can find my little tray. There it is. And it's right here. And just put a little down. And I like to use these little wells to clean my brush. See how it took the brown off? Turn the material light brown. That's because it's cleaning my brush. And then have a little rag off to the side where you can wipe that off. Okay, which is what I got over there. Just want to get the brush clean because I'm going to add, to lighten, I'm going to add ivory. Okay, because in order to brighten them, I've got to bring them up a little bit. So ivory white will do the trick. By the way, I'm not any sort of master at knowing how to change colors, but what I do have is this. Inside of the kit is the Optiglaze Color book, and this will give you the recipes for all the different effects that you want to do. You'll play with it and you'll get good at it, but this will allow you to at least get the basic rudiments, and then as you begin to use the kit, you'll get more proficient. Okay? Gives you all the finishing tips and everything. So anyways, in the booklet, if I was looking up to see how I change a shade, I can take an A3 tooth and a little bit of ivory white and turn an A3 tooth into an A2 tooth. So I can also shift the colors back the other direction if I want, which is what I'm going to do here with these laterals. Okay. So again, always shake the bottle. Unlike the Gradia application I've shown, I wouldn't mix these colors together if you're going browns and ivories and so forth. I would be very careful not to mix them. Doesn't matter if you're trying to get a color and you're mixing colors, but I wouldn't recommend blending them like I did with the Gradia gum. Okay, so I put a little dot of that down. Brush is clean and it's ready to go. Now I'm going to brighten that lateral. I'm going to go just one brushing over it. Okay. And again, that's it. Just brightening them just a little bit. Okay. All right, I'm going to go over and I'm going to cure this for about 10 seconds. And then I'll be right back. Okay. Now for the sake of the case, I'll leave it. Because I now have A2 centrals, an A1, if you want to call it that, or a brighter lateral, and then about an A3 cuspids. So we have like a nice polychromatic effect. We have it all broken up. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to add some others. Most people, this would be enough. And that really, with the time it took me to set it up and demonstrate it, was nothing. It wears the same as the Optiglaze Clear. It actually strengthens the surface. You'll want to polish down these surfaces. I'll do some of that polishing for you in another video, but again, you want to take down any kind of like textures that might have been imparted by the brush strokes on the surface. You may not. You may want to just put glaze over the top of it and call it a day. It's really up to you. It's a artistic thing, you know. Do as you think suits best. Artistry trying to imitate nature is what we're looking for. Anyways, those teeth broken up. And let me give you a real cool little thing that I've been doing is that I've been making provisionals using broken sets of teeth that I've had laying around the lab for years and years, because now I can change the shade of those teeth to put them into provisionals. And I've already bought the teeth, or the doctors have already bought the teeth. The teeth are just sitting in my stock waiting to be used. And all of a sudden now I can use those teeth in applications for brand new provisionals. Actually, if you wanted to and you got a 1x6, you could change a whole 1x6 to another shade. I've had some cases where the patient changed their mind and wanted an A2 rather than an A1 tooth. I use the A plus shade changer, and have used that to darken by 1 shade range the entire 1x14. I mean, there's lots of variation here. There's lots of things you can do to make your life simple with this product. That's why I like to show it. Okay, so at this point, we've changed this up. I'm going to take some pictures. I'll come back and then I'll add some more effects for you. We'll put some effects on the bicuspids and molars, and I'll put some occlusal stuff in there too, so you can see how the whole thing comes together, okay? All right, be back in a second. So I've gotten the anterior 6 characterized as I showed you earlier, with the darker cuspids, lighter laterals, and then the neutral or the same shade A2 shade centrals. If you want to go further with this, which I would recommend, you're still going to want to characterize at least partially the posteriors, but you don't really want to change the color. My next recommendation would be first clear coat them, and then use a little bit of cervical colorization with a pink orange. Let me show you that right now. So I'm going to put a little bit of clear out. And I'm going to bring them up to gloss as we did before with the others. Bring that up to gloss. Now you can use your halogen light box if you want to cure it, or if you have a step light you can use that. I'm going to use a step light just for brevity's sake, but again, the Optiglaze and Optiglaze Color can be cured, photo cured, using a halogen light box, those kind of things, Triad, Proform, and so forth. Okay, so let me step light this real quick. Just want to give it a burst. Again, I'm not going a full 40 seconds, I'm going about 8 seconds. And now I'm going to do is I'm going to add some of the pink orange. And pink orange, very simple technique of using pink orange, is just around the cervical, just around the neck a little bit, just to give it a little bit of highlight. And that's all it takes, just a little amount, just a drop like that. Get that in the picture. Okay? Okay. And then I'm going to go around, just around the neck. Just kind of get a little bit of, little pop. Can barely see it. It's just there so it doesn't look monochromatic. So it has a little bit of polychromaticism. Okay? Just around the neck, just to give it a little bit of character. And then I'll take that and I'll go over to my step light. And again, if you have a halogen light box and not a step light, run it for about 8 to 10 seconds, just enough to set it in place. Remember, I told you don't want to burn this material, okay? And so I've added that. Now I'll take some more pictures of this and show you what it looks like. Completed, finished up. I didn't do this side. I'm going to leave this side like it is, just for a comparison's sake. I actually terminated the Optistippling to about right here, so none of this is actually characterized. Still has contours, but it's not characterized. Just so you have some baseline to go by. Okay, I'll be back in a second, and then what I'll do is I'll show you what it looks like